오, 와. 오. Go. Wow. Oh, no. Wow. Go. Oh. Woo. 그래. No. Oh no. Wow. Whoa. Ooh. Ah.